Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Monday. If you were just on and I had to restart, sorry. I was going down a road I do not want to go down. So, and for no other reason than I think it just sparks up negativity. And that's not the goal. So, I started over and I'm back. And I think, the live threw me off my game for a second, but I am back and I'm here. And I'm still trying to find my sea legs with this show. And I have to be honest with you, part of me did not want to do it today. And then I thought, you know what? That's the old you talking. So I'm still trying to find this balance of the me I am now, the healed me I am now. And it's difficult. It's difficult. It is a journey. I thought it would be, just like that, but it's not, because I'm getting to know myself again. I'm getting to know, who I am again, and, without all the baggage and all the crap. So I pulled an affirmators card this morning, and because I didn't really know what to talk about, but then I realized, not every show has to be like a gazillion minute long diatribe, right? Or talk about something. It can be short. So let's see what happens here. So anyways, the card I pulled, I wasn't sure how I felt about it because I didn't want to go down that negative road. There's enough negativity in this world, but I did have a conversation last week and we were talking about, the state of the world and this and that. And, I was told, look around, the world is just going bad. I disagree. I think it's one of those where, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? But there's still 3 other wheels on that cart or that car. Or there's still another wheel if it's just a 2, like a dolly, right? So it's 2 sides. But if, we don't speak up, we're not going to be heard. But if you look around at social media, for me, I find all the positive people. I mean, I'm one of many. I'm one of many, many, many. And that's the point. The point is to continue spreading that positivity. And it's not, I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're not going to have bad days. You're going to have bad days. That's life. That is life. But how we handle it is the difference, right? How we look at situations is the difference. Do we choose to look at something negatively or hatefully, or do we choose to look at it with kindness and positivity? It's your choice. And I'm not talking about toxic positivity. I'm talking, just everyday things. If you're feeling horrible, don't try to talk yourself out of it. Move through it, because that's how you get through it. When you move through it, you can heal it. You got to feel it to heal it, right? You got to feel it to heal it. So today's card, it's actually pretty cute. It's actually pretty cute. But it says, when in doubt, give people the benefit, I guess, of the doubt. Everyone else is trying their best, right? I think most people are trying their best. Even the people that think that the world is going super negative. Sometimes it's our outlook. Our outlook can determine how everything around us looks. When I'm having a really, if I'm having a series of bad days, I might be in a spiral. I might be in I'll call it a depressive flare-up. The world doesn't look so colorful and shiny. But when I come out of it, and I look up, just outside of my house, it's such a pretty area, and I look up and I look around, it's like, oh, okay, I am feeling better because I can see the colors in the world again. And the colors haven't changed. It's just my perception has changed, and because I'm learning how to move through things, how to not just avoid them and shove them down and shove them aside. Because for me, that doesn't work. For me, it's just going to come up later and it's going to slap somebody that doesn't deserve to be slapped. And I don't mean physically. I mean verbally, probably. Or just even attitude-wise, right? You might be like, ugh, But anyways, I'm still trying to find my sea legs on this show. So for those of you still tuning in, even if it's after the live, I appreciate you and I thank you. So it says, when in doubt, give people the benefit. Everyone else is trying their best, right? Except maybe this person talking on their speakerphone in public. I have to tell you, and maybe it's the Gen X in me coming out, because I see all kinds of people doing this. It doesn't matter what generation they are. I see people doing this. I don't want to fucking hear your conversation. Okay? Period. If you're on your phone, fine. And if I can hear you, that's fine. I mean, we live in a world of cell phones. All right, but I don't need to hear you having a two-person conversation, because here's the thing. 9 times out of 10, the speakerphone is going to be way louder than you. Now, if you're in your house or you're at a public gathering, you know, like just a family gathering, I don't care. But, you know, for instance, I was on public transportation one time, and this one dude was having a full-on regular, and not even a regular conversation. I mean, people talk lower than this in general conversations. But, you know, because the bus was loud, right? I mean, this was in London. This was a double-decker bus. But because the bus is loud, you feel like you got to be louder, because you got to, you know, even though the way cell phones are built nowadays, you could probably whisper and it would still sound like you were talking normal. But we're not used to that, right? Especially people of my generation, where it's like we're used to the early cell phones where it's like, hello, are you there? Oh, okay. Then you could call each other back like 5 times because you keep getting dropped. We didn't have the network service that we have nowadays. But it's like, mind the people around you. It's manners. It's manners. It's plain manners. You know, and like I said, I mean, if you're just answering a quick call, I get it, because not everybody can hear that well. So I understand that. But when you're having a full-blown conversation and you don't give a crap about anybody else around you, it's kind of like, come on, seriously? I mean, I get it. Some people will say, well, I can't use earbuds. I can't either. They fall out of my ear. Doesn't matter how many sizes they give me, those damn things will not stay. I have weird ears, okay? My ears will not hold those damn things. So, I mean, I have to use headphones. That's why sometimes, you know, if I take a picture, I have headphones on and a speaker on it. So, I guess they're gaming headphones. I don't know. Without the big old mic, although that would be kind of fun, right? Feel like I'm in an airplane or flying a helicopter. But, random. But these are the little things I'm talking about. Now, for me, it's kind of like, I just realized, hey, you know what? I'm in a public place. I'm not going to worry about it. You know, because I thought this is, now the reason I'm sharing that is because I can do one of two things. I can be really annoyed by it and let it ruin the rest of my day. Or I can just realize that there are people like that in this world, and, you know, that's fine. You know, they're going to go about their day. I'm going to go about my day. So I'm going to go about their day. I'm going to go about my way, my day, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. So we have to decide. See, if we decide to be angry about it, it has the potential to ruin the rest of our day. So everything around you will look a little less colorful. Everything around you will look a little less happy. You know, because you're choosing to focus on, you know, a very short moment of time. Now, that doesn't mean that if it happens again, it's not going to annoy you. Sure. I mean, things are going to annoy us. Come on, we're human. We are human. You know, we wake up human. We go to sleep human. We are still human. We do not wake up, you know, robots. All right. We are going to have feelings. We're going to, you know, just go through the things. But it's up to us to decide, do we want it to bother us? Do we want it to ruin our day? Am I going to let it ruin my day? Am I just going to take it with a grain of salt? You know, maybe you're walking through the grocery store and you see a mom with 4 kids struggling, right? You know, struggling to keep them all tied up. Maybe you got one crying, you got one running over here, you got one running over there, you got another one trying to throw stuff into the cart. And, you know, I've seen people judge them. Well, maybe she shouldn't have had that many kids. You don't know her situation. You don't know what she's going through. I mean, her kids could be well behaved every other day, but today, you know, maybe there's a full moon out and they all turned into tiny little, you know, human looking werewolves, right? And they're all just going crazy all at the same time. And maybe mom's PMSing, or maybe mom's on her period. You know, so she's got extra hormones running around. Or maybe she's pregnant again. I don't know. But why are we judging that person? You don't know their story. You don't. You know, and you might say, oh, well, she doesn't have a ring on, so they must all have different You don't know that. You don't. Maybe she's swollen, so she took a ring off. Or maybe she took her ring off to bathe the kid or to wash the dishes and forgot it at home because, you know, she's just having one of those days. Don't judge other people. You know, I mean, hey, I'm not going to lie. I have my moments. I'm not going to say I didn't judge that dude on the bus for like a hot second, but then I realized, what do I do in public that might be annoying? That I don't find annoying? There's something we could all do, right? There's something we all might be doing. You know, maybe when you're with your people, right? And all of a sudden you start texting. And it's like, okay, I try to put my phone down sometimes. I'm being honest. For the most part, when I'm out with my dad or my sibling, I might keep it on the table because I do like to take pictures. You know, I'm sorry. I know people make fun of people taking photos of their pictures, but there are a lot of people who put a lot of effort into art that's about to be eaten. And I want to let people know that the art that I'm about to eat is pretty. And so, you know, or sometimes just share things with my friends in other countries because they may not have what we have here. Or the version, I should say, that we have here. So, you know, for no other reason. I mean, before I used to do it all the time, and I think it was just because I saw everyone else doing it. But now it's just like, if I see something pretty, hell yeah. If I'm given a Guinness, you bet it's going to end up in my timeline because it's like, oh yeah, Mama's back with her baby. I love me some Guinness. I'm sorry. That is my favorite. But, I am who I am. All right. But I didn't like this card when I first pulled it because I didn't know what road I was going to go down. And so I really kind of, you know, I talked to my higher powers and I asked them for guidance on this one. And I don't think they failed me. I think they told me exactly what I needed to say because you know what? I'm just as guilty as everybody else who judges somebody else. You know, I am. But the difference between the healed me and the non-healed me is the non-healed me sometimes could let it ruin their whole day. Now, I'm not saying if you're not healed, that's going to happen to you. I'm just saying this is me. This was my journey. And my journey suggests that as I learned how to heal, I started really looking more at both sides. You know, see, in politics, I've always called myself a centrist. Truth is, I've always leaned into the original party I belonged to. And I don't belong to that party anymore. I jumped ship. But I find myself now that I'm a little more involved, really being more in the center, really kind of, because that's how sibling is. Sibling follows leader. We're both different parties now, but we land in the center all the time. We have really good conversations, and you know, I never understand how either side on either extreme. I know people on both sides. One side hates the other, one side hates the other, and yet if you put them in a room together, they probably wouldn't even realize it. You know, they'd be yammering away if they have something in common. But why do we judge? Why do we judge? You know, why don't we give people the benefit of the doubt? See, when I was on that bus that day, and I was getting a little annoyed with the guy for talking on his phone, you know, at one point I thought, you know what? Well, he's talking out loud. I'm just going to listen. He was making business deals because he owned his own business. Now, should he have been, and I think he was on his way to actually pick up his car because his car was in the shop. So, or whatever they call it over there. So, I'm sure it's the shop, right? But the thing is that it didn't matter. You know, I thought, hey, I'm just going to listen like I'm listening to the radio because I can let it bother me and ruin my day, or I could just let it go because this is just a moment in my life. It's about giving people the benefit of the doubt. Some people, it is just absolutely hard to give the benefit of the doubt because they do the same stupid shit over and over and over again. But, don't worry about them. You know, I mean, I could take this conversation on a grand scale, but I'm going to keep it local. I'm going to keep it local to the things that we do in our everyday lives, the things that the people we see, the people we talk to, you know. I mean, it was the group I was talking about before, One Small Step, right? And they took a bunch of people from opposing political parties, put them at a table and told them, hey, you can talk about anything but politics. And they put two women at the table that weren't really sure that they would have been friends after this or kept in touch. But they realized if they'd known each other longer and they knew each other, you know, like without knowing all this stuff, that they probably really would have been friends. They had so much in common, you know, from church to kids to family, their husbands, you know, I mean, they had so much in common. Both women own their own businesses, I believe. But it's amazing what happens when you remove the negativity from something. When you look at somebody without looking at anything but what the person has to bring to the table. And if they don't have anything to bring to the table but negativity, set your boundaries. You don't have to sit there if you don't want to. I mean, for all you know, they may be looking at you going, hey, you know what? I don't need your negativity. You know, Shelly Marie, I don't need your negativity today. Okay. And sometimes my positivity can be a little too much for people. But I have to tell you, it's what saved my life. Aside from all the people in my life that actually saved my life, trying to teach my mind how to be positive, I may have gone overboard in my own life and on my own particular social media timelines for a while, because they were reminders for myself. They were things I saw that I needed to remember, things that I saw that I needed to utilize in my toolbox of, mental health stability. I'm still trying to find that balance. And I was talking to a friend the other day about this, because she's on her healing journey too. And I'll be honest with you. I thought, my healing journey started 10 years ago. My healing journey did start 10 years ago after my mom passed. Probably more like 9, because I kind of dawdled for the first couple of months after she died. I was, just in the throes of super grief. And it doesn't mean I don't miss her. I miss her every day. And I love her every day. And I wish she was here every day, but she's not. And coming to terms with that was very hard. And honestly, I didn't really come to terms with that until the last couple of months. I realized some that, when I point out my mom's flaws, it's because I was mad at her for being gone. It doesn't mean they didn't exist. I wasn't making them up. But now I notice that when I talk about her, I talk about her more kindly, because I've accepted the fact that she's gone. I've accepted the fact that, she's with me in spirit. I've accepted the fact that I will not have another hug from her until we meet again one day. And so the thoughts I have, the memories I have, I use those to hug myself with. But I really didn't start my healing journey until about 4 years ago, literally in the throes of lockdown. We had a choice. We could go inward and heal, or we could complain outward. And I didn't like it, but I was lucky. I had sibling and I, we had the cats, and we just kind of did our thing. We'd go out for drives, and it wasn't easy. Even having someone else in the house, it wasn't always easy, because you're like, oh man, I sure miss some of the things we can do. And life for me changed, there were a lot of things that I did before that I haven't been able to do again, because right before COVID, I lost my job. And it's been harder to find one as, a person who is a little bit older. A lot of people want to hire younger people, the longevity and all that stuff. And so, it's a little bit stigmatizing, but at the same time, I did find myself, and I needed that time, because that's the time that I really truly believe that I started healing, because I had no other choice but to look inward. I couldn't go anywhere. So I really kind of sat down and had to start, thinking about things, doing things, and really just kind of buckling down with all of my mental health stuff and all the tools that I had. And I had to find a way to move out of that. And if you're thinking 4.5 years is a long time to do that, you are not wrong. Because I procrastinated. I was afraid. I did not give myself the benefit of the doubt. I did not give myself the grace. I did not think I was enough. I didn't think I was worth the healing. A lot of the shame that I felt, I blamed myself for. And it was in this time that I really had to, I had to have a come to Jesus with myself, It was also in this time that okay, so not spoiler alert, but trigger warning. All right, trigger warning. It was also the last time I had suicidal ideation. I came this close. And I remember thinking the world will be better off without me, sibling will be better off without me, baby sibling, my dad, everybody around me would be better off without me. Because I don't offer anything in this world. I don't bring anything to this world. And then I found this deck of cards. And in that deck of cards, I It was actually before the world shut down, and I had gone to visit baby sibling, and I bought this deck, but I never really paid much attention to it, right? I just thought, oh my god, these are so funny, they're so cute, they're so sarcastic, right up my alley. And come July of 2020, actually, it was the day after my parents' anniversary, but also older siblings' moms. Because older sibling is my, she's just my best friend. She's we adopted each other, so she's my soul sister, all right? It was her mom's birthday, July 9th, 2020, when I started the Daily Vibe. Someone, I guess, hashtagged that, had a total conniption fit that I was using it. So I changed the name a year later in 2021 on November 8th, which is Sissy Joe's birthday and my nephew's birthday. And it became the Aloha Perspective. So we're closing in on 3 years of that. But I feel like I'm in a 3.0, so it went from the Daily Vibe 1.0, Aloha Perspective 2.0, which was basically the Daily Vibe 2.0. And now I'm in the Aloha Perspective 3.0 / I guess 2.0, right? But it's still part of what started 3 years ago. So I'm in a new version of it. I'm in the 3.0 version of whatever we want to call this. We'll call them random ramblings, right? Because that's basically what they sum up to being. But in that time, I did struggle so hard. And I remember walking downstairs because, everyone will say to themselves, I promised myself I would never do this again. And I did want to die. And I came up to my room. I was trying to fix my bed, sheets and corners and all that crap with a bed pushed up against a wall to fit in my room. I was undone by a fitted sheet. I mean, I'm laughing about it now because it's funny now, but it wasn't then. I literally laid face down in my bed wishing I was dead. And I started thinking of all the different ways that I could be dead. And then I thought to myself, well, you know what? I want to be better. I want to heal. I want to, live my best life. I want to be the person I know I can be inside. And so I said to myself, I started writing in my journal and saying, I need to promise myself that, and I said no. And I scratched that out and I walked downstairs. And I told older sibling that I promised. Because I made a promise a long time before. When my friend took her own life, I promised that I would never do that. And I remember walking in the house that day and telling her, I don't care what promise I made, I'm breaking it because, I'm done. And in that moment when I was laying face down in the sheets, I thought, you know what? I made that promise. I made that promise to someone else because I didn't trust myself to keep that promise for me. And when I make a promise to somebody else, I always do my best, and 99.9% of the time I will come through on that promise. And this time I realized maybe you have to figure out how to be strong enough to make that promise to yourself. And it was difficult. It was difficult because once again I felt ashamed. How could I let myself get to this place? But I'm not the only one. There are so many of us out there who just, some days are so hard, we just don't want to go on. But I've found my balance in that place. And I realized, you know what? And not that long ago, probably about a year or so ago, I had a thought run through my head and said, you know what? This world would be better off without me. And I immediately kind of shook my head and thought, that is not my thought. That is not my thought. This world needs me. My little tiny localized area needs me. But that was the difference. Because in that moment, when I was laying face down in my sheets, having been totally defeated by the damn fitted sheet, I realized that I wanted to get better. I wanted to heal. I needed to heal. And it wasn't really a thing at this point where it was a choice. It was something that needed to be done. Not an I want to, not a I hope to, an I need to. Because I didn't want to feel that way anymore. There is nothing worse than feeling like there's nothing left in the world for you. Even when there's so much around you and you can see everything, but you have these blinders on that just kind of block everything that's so good in your life. And I think that's how some people look at the world. They're so lost in their own pain or their own hurt or maybe their own anger that they can't see all the good in the world. I literally read on the crawl this morning in our morning news about a man driving down the freeway, saw a person in distress on the side of the freeway, and rendered life-saving care. That person could have died, but someone gave a shit enough to pull to the side of the road and help them. Because that's what we're made of. That's the stuff we're made of. There was no judgment. There was just somebody helping somebody else. And in that moment of my greatest despair, in my adult life, at the time, just being who I was on my way to being now, I realized I want to be one of those people. I want to do something. I want to put something out in this world. So as an adult in my late 40s at the time that this happened, this is what saved me. Because I started the Daily Vibe with that deck. I started going through it one by one. And my shows were a lot shorter back then. I was way more discombobulated than I am now. And I started to see something. The more I talked about my own pain, I had people, writing to me or texting me or messaging me and saying, thank you for your honesty and your openness. And I'll be honest with you, that's where my friend Jody comes in. Because, as much as I love the people around me, this was someone that didn't know me. Someone I've only met through social media, but has become a good friend that I see on Twitter. I found that community of people who were in the same throes of either any part of their healing and their pain. And I felt seen. And it's not that I didn't feel seen by the people around me, but these are people that had been through something I'd been through. And I saw the people that were healing and almost healed. I saw the people who had been through their healing and were reaching out to help other people. I saw the people who hadn't quite started their healing journey yet, but were in so much pain that all they could do was help people. And I started in that place. I started in that place of having so much pain that it was so hard to deal with that I wanted to help other people because I couldn't face my own pain. But as I did this, as I talked about these different subjects, as I moved through all these different things, I started to see and I started to heal without even realizing it at first. In fact, I think I'm just realizing it now, how impactful this show has actually been on my own life. Not just because I'm sharing something, but because I really did go through my healing journey through this show. Kind of unofficially documenting it on, as I moved through it. But I never gave myself the benefit of the doubt at the beginning. Right? That dude on the bus, he was making business deals. And these business deals would support his family. Could he have done it a little quieter? Probably. Because I was not the only one looking at him. But, like I said, I had the choice that day. Going to London was a huge boost for me. I went there for a play, and that was the catalyst to go. But I learned so much about myself in that time. And it wasn't quite where my healing journey started, where I had hoped it would start. But it was a good kickoff and a good reminder for me to look back on of, what I'm capable of, what we're all capable of. That was the very first trip I ever took by myself. First trip I planned by myself, did everything myself. And, usually I always depended on the parents or the older siblings to do this. Sissy Joe and, older sibling were always taking care of all the plans. I just, got on the plane, went, and poof, I was there. Right? But they always planned everything. Hey, let's do this journey. Let's do that journey. It's like, because I'm just, I kind of just don't mind. It's like, I'll do anything. I'll go anywhere. But that was something I did on my own. And even in my early 40s at the time, it was such a monumental thing for me to do. I mean, even older siblings said, can't you go somewhere closer for your first trip by yourself? Because she was worried. My dad was worried. So why are you going there by yourself? It's like, well, technically, I do have a coworker that's coming in a couple of days after me that I didn't know was coming in till after me, until, like a couple days ago, literally like about 2 weeks before I left, I found out my coworker was actually going to be there at the same time. And then of course I had friends in the country area. Well, I don't know if it's country, but outside of London. And so I wasn't totally alone, but in the city I was, because I needed to do this for myself. I needed to prove to myself that, I don't know, I am a grown up. I don't know. Sometimes I'm such a big kid that, I forget how old I am. But the things that we do for ourselves, the way we can take time for ourselves is so important. Setting aside time for you is important. Self-care is important. The reason my trip to London was so pivotal for me was because I was basically alone the whole time. I traveled alone. I was surrounded by a whole city of people on the tube and on the bus and all that stuff and doing all the things that I did. But it really was something I needed to knock me out of my shell. No pun intended. But yeah, to knock shell out of her shell. But it was something that I needed. It was something... it started as a reason to go see a play with, a personality that I find so talented, and it turned into something bigger for me. I read this great saying, right? And if you know, you know. But it's like, they said, when it comes to fear, oh God, I forgot the exact quote. Feel it, give it a little home, and then do it anyway. And that's what I did, because older sibling was supposed to go with me on that trip. And I kind of told her, no, this is something I have to do by myself. I felt bad. Yes, I did feel bad. But I did. I felt really bad. But I did realize it was something I had to do for myself. And yeah. So, I know I've kind of went off in a whole different area than I think I was intending to go, but maybe that was the point. I didn't really have anything planned to talk about today. I went into areas I wasn't sure I was ready to share, and I talked about things, and I know I've talked about before. I know I talked about the ideation before. But when I look back on it now, it was my aha moment. It was that pivotal moment. It was that moment, and literally right before the world shut down, that I needed to really kind of lean in and focus. Actually, it was right after the world shut down that I needed to lean in and focus. I needed to lean in and focus, because I wasn't. I thought I was on a healing journey all that time since my mom had passed, and I wasn't. I was running from it, and it kept trying to tackle me, and I wasn't gonna let it. I ran as fast as I could. I would hide everything, because I was afraid of facing my feelings. So it says, when in doubt, give people the benefit. Everyone else is trying their best, right? Give yourself the benefit of the doubt. I love that, though. Except maybe this person talking on speakerphone in public. We know. But I know it's hard to see because it gets kind of blurry, but all the animals look very displeased. Especially that one. That one's like, really? So anyways, the duck quacking. I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah. So, give people the benefit of the doubt. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt. If you feel like there's something you need to do, then, give yourself the grace. Give yourself, the compassion, the empathy that you would give someone else. Speak kindly to yourself. If it's not something you would say to somebody else, don't say it to yourself. If it's, something negative, like, you wouldn't tell someone, you wouldn't tell a kid you're not enough, right? No, you wouldn't, unless you're an asshole, in which case there's no hope for you. But sorry, that was so judgmental. But no, but I mean, you wouldn't say that to a kid, right? Like, no normal person would say that to a kid. So why would you say it to yourself? Replace it with, I am enough. I am worthy. All right. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I will see you back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public. Sorry, I'm looking all over the place because you can see I'm still a little uncomfortable because there's a lot of things going through my head now about what I just talked about. And I do believe it will help with my balance. But like I said, if you'd like to join live, all lives are public under Shelly Marie Lucas. Anybody can watch on Facebook. I do upload these to my Facebook page, the Aloha Perspective, where I hope one day to have enough followers that I can go live there, as well as YouTube and TikTok. I have not figured out how to get a long video onto Instagram yet, so I may have to start doing shortened versions for that one. But anyways, I also upload them to Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, on both accounts. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please, please, please take care of yourselves. And again, the best thing you can do for yourself today, give other people some grace, give yourself some grace. All right. Have a great day.